There is a world beyond the one you see, a world of energy, thought, and intention that shapes the physical reality you experience every day. What if I told you that you have the power to mold this world, not through brute force but by harnessing the very principles that govern it? These are not laws created by humans but ancient truths whispered through the ages that govern everything from the smallest particle to the largest star. These truths are known as the 7 Hermetic Principles, and they hold the secret to shifting your reality. Principle of mentalism. The first Hermetic principle, mentalism, is the foundation of everything. Understanding it can transform how you see the world, yourself, and your ability to shift reality. It's not just about realizing that everything is mind in some abstract sense. It's about fully grasping the profound power that thought has over reality. This isn't just theory or philosophy. It's something you can experience directly and begin using immediately. When you first hear that everything is mind, it might seem like a simple concept. Sure, my thoughts affect my reality. But what if I told you that this goes far deeper than simply thinking positively or having a strong mindset? The mind doesn't just influence reality. It is the very blueprint from which reality emerges. To shift reality, you must begin by shifting your mind. Imagine a sculptor working with clay. The form they create isn't determined by the clay itself. It's determined by the vision, the idea, the thought the sculptor holds in their mind. The clay merely responds to the will of the artist. Your life is no different. The circumstances, people, and experiences you encounter are the clay, but the true power lies in the artist. You. Your mind is the sculptor, and the thoughts you hold are the tools that carve out your reality. Now, before we go further, let's clear up a common misconception. When people first learn about the power of thought, they often rush into thinking that it's all about positive thinking. But mentalism is not about constantly forcing yourself to think happy or optimistic thoughts. It's about understanding the true nature of thought as the underlying force that shapes everything. It's about consciously using that power, not blindly trying to override negative emotions or thoughts. Let's look at this from the perspective of ancient wisdom. In the teachings of the Buddha, there's a parable about a man who is shot by an arrow. If he spends his time asking who shot the arrow or where it came from, he delays treating the wound, making his suffering worse. The lesson here is that what truly matters is not what happens to you, but how you choose to respond with your mind. The arrow is the event. Your thoughts determine whether you heal quickly or continue to suffer. In your life, the arrows are those things you can't control. Unexpected challenges, circumstances that seem out of your hands. But what you can control is your mental response. This is the essence of mentalism. Life will give you the raw material, but your mind determines what that material becomes. Think of the mind as a projector and reality as the screen. The images that appear on the screen are not independent. They are projections from the light within the projector. If the projector is clear and focused, the image on the screen is sharp and vibrant. But if the projector is clouded with dust or distorted in some way, the image will be blurred. Your mind is like that projector. If your thoughts are clear, intentional, and aligned with your desires, your reality will reflect that clarity. But how do you clear the mind? How do you ensure your thoughts are aligned with the reality you want to create? First, you must observe your thoughts. Many people go through life on autopilot, reacting to whatever comes their way without any real awareness of the mental patterns guiding their actions. To harness the principle of mentalism, you must become the watcher of your thoughts. Take time each day to sit quietly and simply notice what kinds of thoughts fill your mind. The key here is consistency. The mind, like a muscle, strengthens with use. The more you focus on thoughts that are aligned with the reality you want, the stronger your mental muscles become. Over time, your default mental state shifts from one of lack and limitation to one of abundance and possibility. Your imagination is the workshop of your mind. It's where the real work of reality shifting happens. Albert Einstein once said that imagination is more important than knowledge. He wasn't just being poetic. He was speaking to the profound truth that everything we create in life first exists in the imagination. When you visualize the reality you desire, you're planting seeds in the fertile soil of your mind. Those seeds, when nourished with focus and intention, will grow into the reality you experience. The principle of correspondence. Now that you've started to grasp the power of the mind through mentalism, it's time to dive into the second Hermetic principle, correspondence. This principle is like holding up a mirror to reality. It reveals how the same patterns and laws that govern the cosmos are reflected within you and how you can use this knowledge to shift your world. It's a principle that can make everything click, like finding the missing piece of a puzzle. It helps you understand that nothing happens in isolation. Everything is connected. The ancient wisdom of as above, so below, as within, so without, is at the heart of correspondence. This phrase, simple yet profound, holds the key to unlocking the hidden links between the universe at large and your personal experience of reality. It's saying that whatever is happening on a larger scale in the universe also happens on a smaller scale in your own life. Likewise, what happens within you is reflected in the outer world. Take a moment to let that sink in. It means the vast universe, its stars, galaxies, and cosmic rhythms, mirrors itself in your everyday reality, and it goes both ways. The way your thoughts and feelings move inside you creates ripples that echo throughout the external world. To shift your reality, you must first shift your internal world, because what is within you inevitably shapes what is outside of you. Think about this. Have you ever noticed how a shift in your mood seems to change the entire day? You wake up feeling down, and everything seems to go wrong. Traffic is unbearable, people seem irritable, and even the weather feels heavy. But then, on days when you're feeling good, the world somehow feels brighter, easier, and full of opportunities. This isn't a coincidence. It's the principle of correspondence in action. Your inner state is like a tuning fork, and it resonates outward, attracting experiences that match its frequency. To truly harness correspondence, we must first explore this link between your inner world and the greater reality with some practical depth. In the teachings of the Kabbalah, there is a concept known as the Tree of Life, a symbolic map of creation that connects the spiritual and material worlds. Each sphere on this tree corresponds to different aspects of existence, from the highest divine realms to the everyday experiences of human life. The Kabbalists believe that by studying this tree, you could understand how every action in the spiritual realm corresponds to a reaction in the physical realm. If you want to make changes in your material world, you must first address the spiritual or inner level. The Tree of Life then becomes a tool for aligning your inner self with the greater cosmic order. This idea isn't confined to mystical traditions like the Kabbalah. It's echoed in modern science as well. Think of fractals, the repeating patterns that occur at every level of nature, from the spirals of galaxies down to the branching of trees and even the structure of your DNA. These fractals demonstrate that the same patterns appear on vastly different scales, much like the principle of correspondence suggests. The same laws that shape the stars also shape your life. When you realize this, you start to see that shifting the smallest aspect of yourself can influence the world in profound ways. Now, let's return to how this applies to your ability to shift reality. If everything in the external world is a reflection of your internal state, then the most effective way to create change is to start within. Too often, people focus on trying to manipulate the external, changing jobs, moving cities, or trying to control others, in hopes of finding happiness or success. But correspondence teaches that these outer circumstances are only reflections of the inner reality. If you want to see a new picture in the mirror, you need to change the source, the inner self. Start with your beliefs, for they are the blueprint of your reality. If deep down you believe that life is hard and full of struggle, this belief will be mirrored back to you through challenging experiences. However, if you shift that inner belief to one of trust in the abundance and flow of life, you'll begin to see that reflected in opportunities and ease coming into your world. It's not about ignoring difficulties, but about recognizing that your perspective can change the very nature of your experience. By shifting your internal beliefs, you change the filter through which you view and interact with the world. The principle of vibration. The third principle is that of vibration, the idea that everything moves, everything vibrates, nothing is ever truly still. This constant motion is the essence of all life and matter. The principle of vibration is the key to understanding the universe on a profound level. Everything, from the largest galaxy to the smallest particle, is in a state of vibration. This principle states that nothing rests. Everything is in constant motion, constantly changing and evolving. And the key to shifting your reality lies in how you interact with this vibrational energy. You might be wondering how this concept affects your life in a practical way. Well, let's start by realizing that the thoughts you think, the emotions you feel, and the words you speak all have their own unique vibrational frequency. These vibrations, much like ripples in water, extend out from you and interact with the universe around you. When you think of everything as vibrating energy, you realize that you have the power to influence what kind of energy you send out, and by doing so, you affect what you attract back into your life. To truly grasp this, consider a concept that exists in many spiritual traditions: the idea of resonance. In ancient spiritual philosophies, such as those in Hinduism and Buddhism, the universe is often described as vibrating with the sound of creation. Everything vibrates at different frequencies, and like a tuning fork, similar vibrations attract one another. This is what happens when you resonate with someone, whether it's a friend, a partner, or even a place. You feel in tune with them because your vibrations are in harmony. Now, let's apply this idea of resonance to shifting your own reality. The universe works through vibrations, and your own thoughts, beliefs, and actions contribute to that vibrational dance. If you're vibrating at a frequency of joy, love, and abundance, you will attract more of the same. If you're vibrating at the frequency of fear, anger, or scarcity, then you'll notice those experiences showing up in your life. Think about it this way. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt the mood, even if no one is talking? You can sense whether there's tension, excitement, or peace. That's because you're picking up on the vibrations in that space. This isn't some mystical concept. It's a natural part of being human. Your body, mind, and emotions all vibrate, and they interact with the vibrations around you. The principle of vibration tells us that nothing is fixed. Your current reality, whatever challenges or successes you're experiencing, is not set in stone. It's all energy, and energy can shift. This is why mastering your own vibration is so crucial to shifting your reality. The frequency you emit acts like a magnet, drawing toward you experiences that match your energetic output. To make this clearer, let's take a look at a famous parable from the Bible, the story of David and Goliath. David, a young shepherd, faced the giant Goliath in battle. Despite Goliath's size and strength, David was undeterred. He approached the situation with confidence, not letting fear or doubt vibrate within him. His vibration of courage and faith overpowered Goliath's physical strength. This story symbolizes the power of vibration. David wasn't the strongest physically, but his inner state, his high vibration, allowed him to overcome what seemed impossible. Your thoughts and feelings work the same way. If you approach life with a mindset of strength and confidence, you raise your vibration, and like David, you can conquer even the biggest obstacles. But if you focus on your fears, doubts, and limitations, you lower your vibration, making it harder to overcome challenges. Now, How do you practically use the principle of vibration to shift your life? Start by becoming aware of the energy you're putting out. This isn't just about thinking positively, though that's part of it, but it's about genuinely feeling the energy of what you want to attract. If you desire more love in your life, vibrate at the frequency of love. This means practicing kindness, gratitude, and compassion in your daily life. The more you do this, the more you align yourself with that vibration, and soon you'll notice love showing up in your reality in various forms, through relationships, opportunities, or even unexpected acts of kindness from strangers. In modern physics, we find a fascinating parallel to this principle in the study of quantum mechanics. Scientists have discovered that particles at the subatomic level don't exist in one set place or form. They vibrate and shift between states depending on how they're observed. This means that the act of observation itself can change reality. In a sense, this mirrors the principle of vibration. The way you observe and interact with your own energy can shift the reality around you. The principle of polarity. Now we enter into one of the most intriguing aspects of reality. The principle of polarity. This principle reveals that everything in existence has its opposite, and these opposites are not truly separate but different degrees of the same thing. The magic happens when you learn how to navigate and even embrace these opposites, understanding that balance and transformation come from acknowledging the full spectrum of life. The principle of polarity states that everything is dual. In other words, everything has a pair of opposites. Hot and cold, light and dark, love and hate, abundance and lack. However, this duality isn't as rigid as it might seem. Think of hot and cold, for example. They are not distinct, separate entities. They are simply two ends of the same temperature spectrum. There is no sharp line where one stops and the other begins. This is true of all things. Opposites are, in fact, different degrees of the same underlying essence. This principle is echoed in many ancient philosophies. In Taoism, for instance, we see the yin-yang symbol, which shows the interdependence of opposites. Light within darkness and darkness within light. One cannot exist without the other. They define each other. Even in the Bible, there's a moment in the story of Genesis where God separates light from darkness, not to destroy one or elevate the other, but to create the balance that sustains the universe. When you truly understand this concept, a powerful realization emerges. Opposites are just points on the same continuum. If everything is one, then shifting your experience from one end of the pole to the other becomes not only possible, but natural. This means that even if you're in a place of deep struggle, loss, or sadness, you are not stuck there. In fact, you're only a few degrees away from its opposite: joy, success, or peace. The power to shift from one state to another is within your grasp. Take the example of fear and courage. Many people think of these as completely different emotions, but they are simply two sides of the same coin. Fear is not the absence of courage, and courage is not the absence of fear. In fact, courage can only exist when fear is present. What makes a courageous person isn't that they are free from fear, but that they have learned to transform that fear into action. By embracing the dual nature of these emotions, you can shift from one state to another. This is why the greatest heroes, whether in ancient myths or modern stories, don't fight against their fears. They acknowledge them and move through them. Now consider how this applies to your everyday life. If you're experiencing lack, whether it's financial, emotional, or spiritual, know that lack and abundance are part of the same polarity. You can't have one without the potential for the other. So rather than resisting or pushing away the feelings of scarcity, recognize that they are simply the low end of the same energy that holds abundance. By shifting your focus, you can begin to move along the scale toward the abundance you seek. The great spiritual teachers have always understood this. The Buddha taught that suffering and enlightenment exist in the same world, You cannot understand one without the other. In fact, the journey to enlightenment often begins with suffering. It's not something to be avoided, but to be transformed. Similarly, Jesus' teachings often illustrated how those who feel the greatest loss or burden are closest to finding grace. "The meek shall inherit the earth," he said, "and the last shall be first." These paradoxes, which seem like contradictions, are actually expressions of the principle of polarity. Think about times in your life when you felt stuck in one extreme, whether it was a dark moment of hopelessness, frustration, or conflict. If you look closely, you might notice that those were also the moments when transformation was possible. When you hit rock bottom, you're at the edge of the pendulum swing, and the only way it can go from there is up. The more extreme one end of the polarity feels, the closer you are to experiencing its opposite. This is why great wisdom often arises out of great suffering. Know that no matter what situation you're facing, the opposite is always possible because they are two parts of the same whole. If you're feeling anger, know that peace is within reach. If you're in a state of lack, understand that abundance is already on the same continuum. This shift happens through your awareness. Principle of rhythm. Life moves in cycles, just like the seasons shift, the ocean's tides rise and fall, and day turns to night. Every aspect of existence follows a rhythmic pattern. It's a principle as ancient as time itself and one that many overlook. Yet when you begin to see the rhythm within your own life, you unlock the key to moving through challenges and successes with ease and grace. This is the principle of rhythm. The principle of rhythm teaches us that everything flows, rises, and falls in a pattern. It's the understanding that the pendulum of life will always swing. Sometimes it will swing high, bringing success, joy, and light. Other times, it swings low, bringing struggle, sorrow, or darkness. But no matter how far it swings in one direction, it always moves back to the other. The key to shifting your reality with this principle lies in learning how to ride these rhythms instead of fighting them. The concept of rhythm can be found in every spiritual tradition. In the Bible, we see the idea of seasons clearly laid out in the book of Ecclesiastes. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. In Hindu philosophy, the cycles of life, death, and rebirth, samsara, are the natural rhythm of existence. Ancient civilizations like the Mayans and Egyptians designed entire calendars around the rhythm of the cosmos, understanding that life was deeply influenced by the cycles of the universe. But how does this principle apply to your everyday life? Imagine you're going through a tough time. Perhaps you've experienced a failure, a loss, or a deep sense of frustration. Feels heavy, like it will never end. You wonder why this is happening to you, and you begin to resist the feelings of sadness, anger, or despair. Yet, according to the principle of rhythm, this low point is just part of the pendulum swing. It's not permanent, and more importantly, it's not meant to be resisted. When you resist the natural flow of life, you make the downward swing feel harder and longer. Think about trying to swim against a powerful ocean current. The more you fight it, the more exhausted you become, and the harder it is to stay afloat. But when you allow yourself to move with the current, using its natural energy, you begin to glide effortlessly. Life is the same way. Resistance creates friction and tension, but acceptance creates flow. The Hermetic sages understood that mastering the principle of rhythm means learning to anticipate and work with these natural cycles rather than against them. You might not be able to stop the pendulum from swinging low, but you can learn to adjust your internal state, your perspective, and your actions in harmony with that movement. This principle gives you the power to remain steady, even when life feels unsteady. Consider the moon's phases as a beautiful metaphor for this principle. There's a time when the moon is full, bright, and shining in its complete glory, but slowly it begins to wane, disappearing into darkness during the new moon. Yet no matter how dark it gets, the moon always returns to fullness. The key is not to despair when you're in the new moon phase of your life, but to understand that the cycle will soon turn and light will return. Recognizing rhythm can bring great peace. When things are going well, enjoy it. Ride the wave of success and positivity. But don't become attached to it. Understand that life will ebb and flow. Similarly, when things are tough, remind yourself that it's just a phase in the rhythm of life. Rather than resisting the struggle, embrace it as part of your growth and transformation. This acceptance helps you conserve energy for the upward swing instead of wasting it on resistance. The principle of rhythm also teaches us the importance of balance. When you understand the flow of life cycles, you can maintain inner balance regardless of the external circumstances. You're no longer tossed around by the highs and lows because you understand they are both part of the same natural process. This balance is what ancient spiritual masters called equanimity, the ability to remain calm, centered, and peaceful in all situations. The principle of cause and effect. Have you ever noticed how one small action can set off a chain of events that changes the entire course of your life? Maybe it was a decision to take a different route to work, leading you to meet someone who ended up becoming a crucial part of your journey. Or perhaps a single choice set off a series of consequences you never could have imagined. These moments reveal the workings of the principle of cause and effect, the sixth of the Hermetic principles, which states that nothing happens by chance. Every event, every shift in reality, is the result of a specific cause. To understand this principle, we must first let go of the idea that life is random. The Hermetic masters believed that every effect in the universe has its cause, and every cause has its effect. The law of karma in Eastern philosophy echoes this, suggesting that our actions, whether positive or negative, have a ripple effect that returns to us in some form. What you sow, so shall you reap, is not just a moral guideline. It's a fundamental truth of how the universe operates. Understanding this concept gives us the power to create the causes that lead to the effects we desire rather than feeling like life is happening to us. The cause and effect relationship is easy to recognize in the physical world. If you plant a seed and water it, a plant will grow. If you neglect it, the seed withers and dies. Similarly, if you throw a stone into a pond, the stone causes ripples that spread across the water. But this principle operates on all levels, mental, emotional, and spiritual, governing not just your external world, but your internal reality as well. Let's take a deeper look at how this works in your life. Imagine you're in a situation where things seem to be falling apart. You're stressed, overwhelmed, and unhappy, and it feels as though life is against you. You might be tempted to believe that you're simply a victim of circumstance, that you're unlucky, or that things are just happening to you. But when you step back and apply the principle of cause and effect, you start to see that your current situation didn't arise from nowhere. It's the result of choices, thoughts, and actions that led to this moment. Perhaps you've been focusing on fear or doubt, and those thoughts have caused you to take actions or inaction that brought about undesirable outcomes. Maybe you've been reacting to situations with negativity or frustration, which has caused others to respond to you in the same way, creating a feedback loop of tension. The moment you understand that every effect has a cause, you take responsibility for your reality. This realization isn't meant to blame you but to empower you, because if you created this situation, it means you also have the power to create something better. Your thoughts, emotions, and actions are the stones you throw into the pond of your life, creating ripples that extend far beyond what you can see. Once you realize you're the one holding the stone, you can choose what kind of ripples you want to create. The key to shifting reality through this principle is to consciously choose the causes that lead to the effects you desire. This requires self-awareness and intention. Instead of reacting to life passively, you start to create with purpose. You begin by examining your thoughts, which are the seeds of every cause. If your mind is filled with limiting beliefs or fear-based thoughts, those seeds will grow into negative experiences. But if you cultivate thoughts of abundance, love, and possibility, you plant seeds that will bear the fruit of a life that reflects those qualities. It's important to remember that this isn't about immediate gratification. Sometimes the effects of your actions and thoughts take time to manifest, just as a tree doesn't grow the day after you plant the seed. The reality you want to create may take time to unfold. Patience is crucial. Trust in the process and continue to nurture the causes that align with the reality you wish to experience. One powerful way to use the principle of cause and effect is by setting intentions. Every intention you set is like planting a seed in the soil of the universe. But just setting the intention isn't enough. You must take aligned action to water and nurture that seed. If you want success, you must first think like someone who is successful and then act in ways that align with that mindset. The universe will respond to these causes with corresponding effects. The principle of gender. We now arrive at the final Hermetic principle, the principle of gender. Don't let the word gender confuse you. This principle isn't about male or female in the way society often frames those terms. Instead, the principle of gender speaks to the creative forces of the universe, the union of energies that give birth to all things. It tells us that everything, from the grand cosmos to our individual lives, is the product of this union of masculine and feminine energies. Understanding and working with this principle is the final key to unlocking your ability to shift reality. If you've ever marveled at how creation happens, how a plant grows from a seed, how ideas manifest into reality, or how the universe itself emerged from the void, you've witnessed the principle of gender at work. This principle teaches that both masculine and feminine energies exist in everything, and the interplay of these forces drives all creation. In its most literal sense, we see it in biological reproduction, but on a deeper level, this principle governs the mental, emotional, and spiritual realms as well. In ancient cultures, this dynamic of masculine and feminine was often depicted through deities or cosmic forces. In Hinduism, for example, Shiva represents the masculine principle, pure consciousness or stillness, while Shakti represents the feminine principle, the dynamic creative force of life. Together, they create the entire universe. Similarly, in Taoism, the balance of yin, feminine, and yang, masculine, represents the harmony of opposing forces, each containing a seed of the other, and together they make the world turn. First, let's break down what these energies represent. The masculine energy is the force of action, logic, determination, and willpower. It's the energy that drives you forward, helping you achieve goals, make decisions, and assert yourself in the world. The feminine energy, on the other hand, is the force of intuition, receptivity, creativity, and nurturing. It's the energy that allows you to listen, to reflect, and to connect deeply with your emotions and inner guidance. Both of these energies are essential. If you operate solely in masculine energy, you may push too hard, burning out or losing sight of your deeper desires. If you only embody feminine energy, you may find yourself overwhelmed by emotion or unable to take the necessary steps to manifest your dreams. The true power lies in balancing these energies within yourself. This balance is the key to creation. Think of a project you've worked on or a dream you've been pursuing. The initial spark of inspiration, an idea, a vision, comes from the feminine energy. It's born out of intuition, a deep knowing that something is possible. But to bring that vision into reality, you need to take action. You need the masculine energy to move forward, to organize your thoughts, to plan, and to execute. Without the masculine energy, the dream remains just that, a dream. Without the feminine energy, you lose connection to the heart of what you're trying to create in your life. Shifting reality means tapping into both of these energies in harmony. Let's say you want to manifest abundance in your life. You might start by using your feminine energy to visualize what abundance looks and feels like for you, connecting with your desires and opening yourself to receive guidance from the universe. This is the receptive, nurturing stage where ideas begin to form and possibilities emerge. But to manifest that abundance, you also need to engage your masculine energy. This might mean setting goals, taking practical steps toward financial stability, or making bold decisions that align with your vision. Here's where many people get stuck. They either remain too much in the feminine energy, endlessly dreaming and waiting for things to change, or they push too hard with the masculine energy, forcing things to happen and losing touch with the flow of life. The secret is in the dance between these energies, the dynamic tension that allows creation to unfold naturally without being forced. The Hermetic masters understood this principle deeply. They saw that the universe itself is a result of this interplay between masculine and feminine forces. In the Kybalion, it's written that gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. This means that everything, every thought, every action, every outcome is shaped by this balance. Even your mind has both masculine and feminine aspects. The conscious mind is considered masculine, driving focus and intention, while the subconscious mind is feminine, the receptive space where ideas and patterns take root. If you've ever heard the phrase, as above, so below, this is another way of saying that the balance of masculine and feminine is mirrored in every layer of existence. To truly shift your reality, you must recognize when to engage each energy. For example, during times of stress or confusion, your feminine energy might guide you to pause, reflect, and tap into your intuition. This receptive state allows you to gain clarity and inspiration. But once the vision becomes clear, the masculine energy steps in to take action, making decisions that bring the vision into form. This harmonious balance ensures that your actions are aligned with your deeper purpose. As you integrate all 7 principles into your life, you'll find that reality is no longer something that happens to you. It's something you shape with intention, purpose, and awareness. The universe responds to you because you're aligned with its laws. You've unlocked the power to shift reality, and the possibilities are endless.